So yeah, along with all those products, a lot of those products came to me while I was lying down and trying to go to sleep. Like, so that's why I'm saying that's why the bed was also there, because even sleeping and dreaming and having those sorts of experiences are also part of whatever in your head productions is themed around, and it does actually count towards research and things like that. But have I had any weird dreams in front of the artwork? I've had many, many weird dreams, but everybody has weird dreams. But one that really stuck out in particular was one where I woke up in the exact same room that I was in. I woke up and I tried to get up and I fell out of bed. And as I fell, like on the floor, I woke up in bed in the same room. And it was just the weirdest dream, like one of the weirdest. So yeah, like there have been a lot of other strange dreams, but that one I think came from the amount of time that I've spent in a sort of situation like this, like living with the artwork and living with the company pretty much. That I had a dream where I was in the same room. I woke up in the dream. My body was numb in the dream. So when I tried to get up out of the bed, like I just fell limp on the floor, like it, and I felt the velocity and almost felt the impact. But as I hit the floor, I woke up in bed in the same situation, and I was like, "What the hell just happened?" It was just very vivid, and it was one of those ones that I remember, and it's one of those ones that stayed with me and probably will for the rest of my life. So how much time have you actually spent? And I've mentioned it earlier in the presentation, 13 years, 20 hours a day. It equates to the amount of time that I've spent here. It actually started 15 years ago, but there was a 2 year period where I took a break and I went to play football and I just did other things. But obviously, the company was in the back of my mind, but I needed a break from that. And there was a 2 year period. But it started 15 years ago in an orange office. It was an orange office that was a lot smaller than this. It was a lot smaller and it was a lot harder to move around. It was hot. It was just a very small office, and it was, I call it fire state. It was fire state. Like, it was orange. The walls were orange like my shirt. That's where it started, in that room. So yeah, fire state was a horrible experience. Necessary, but it was horrible where the company started, because there was no direction. There was no, it's an application, it's so easy to understand. Like, there was none of that. Like, the virtual side of things and all of that was still like hidden from view. Like, it's like that in technology is impossible. You're talking about impossible things. And also, we were running another business at the same time in that same office, and so I was getting screamed at by customers every day and having to answer questions and learn price lists and send quotations and emails, and like it was it was not a nice experience, fire state. But yeah, that lasted for about 4 years. Also, about 20 hours a day I was spending in the office, and that's when I took the break. So yeah, at the end of that 4 year period of fire state where the walls were orange, I moved out of that house. Like, I moved out and I moved into this house and stayed here. Like I say, I didn't have the artwork up for about 2 years. I didn't have an In Your Head Productions artwork up for about 2 years. I was just living life, doing other things. I moved out. It was a freeing experience to just be living out there and just being able to do some of the things I wanted to do. Played football, got to play football. In those 2 years, I think I won like 10 or 12 medals from just tournaments and leagues that I played in. And yeah, after that 2 years had finished, it was time to go back, and I put the artwork up again in the blue room. So yes, football ended because like I'd won a lot of medals playing football and stuff, and I was too old like to go pro or whatever, and I needed to get back to In Your Head Productions. So I hung the artwork up in the new blue room, which I didn't realize at the time. I didn't even make the connection. I just put the artwork up and I was like, it's time to get back to work. Like, what the hell are we doing here? What is In Your Head Productions? And in the blue room is where I started taking pictures. There's pictures on Instagram. You can go see the blue room. It wasn't the nicest room, but I dealt with it. And dealing with those difficulties, I called that room Water State, which is still one of my favorites, like the Water State, because the walls were blue. So, yeah, I didn't even realize at the time. I put the artwork up in the blue room, and I worked on it for another 2 years, like living with the company. I put the artwork up, did my 20-hour-a-day thing for like 2 years, and it was only at the end where I realized, oh yeah, the walls are blue. Like, is it weird that the first one was orange and this is blue? It's like this is Water State. Like, I only thought about that right at the end of the blue room, because it was so organic, because the people who stayed in the room before me just happened to have painted it blue. Like, I didn't paint it that color. So when thinking about what's next, that's when I decided to paint the walls green, because it was time to renovate. It all came up when I was deciding, because the room was getting renovated. If you saw the old blue room, like, it was not very nice. The ceiling was like falling down, and like it wasn't really that nice, but it was time, like, had the money to renovate it and like fix it up a little bit. So that's when I added the window and deciding on the color. I was like, what color should it be? I mean, if it's for In Your Head Productions, if I'm gonna hang the artwork up again, what color should it be? And then I thought, oh wait, the first one was orange, the second one was blue. Why not make the third one green? Because then we can call that Earth State. And from there on, then the presentation continued into a green room, and that's where most of the budget was drawn up as well. So Earth State lasted for about another 2 to 3 years. That's how long it was. And obviously after a lot of time, the walls became dusty, the studio became dusty, equipment was becoming obsolete and breaking and things like that. So it was time to repaint the walls and repaint and just decide what's the new studio going to be. And then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to paint it white now. I'm going to paint it white and call that Air State. It really didn't matter. It was just something to add flavor to the presentation while I was doing it. It helped me stay motivated and whatever. It was like I was on this journey. I was like, oh, now it's Air State. That's awesome. And there was a lot of training involved. So Air State had a lot of training. There was a lot of training. I did a lot of physical training in Air State. I went from weighing like 130 pounds to weighing like over 210 pounds, like doing a lot of training. It was training. It was a lot. It was like I was training 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. And at the end of Air State, I was like at a loss. I was like, is that it? Is this it? Are we the last airbender now? What is going on? Like, what's next? And I was like, well, technically, isn't darkness an element as well? I was like, isn't darkness an element? It's like the most abundant thing in the universe, nearly. It's just blackness. So I decided to paint it black.